Cause it's time to move on now. It's time for Murder Moose.
Hey everyone, welcome to Murder Moose.
We clapped at the same time.
I'm so proud of us.
We freaking did it.
We did it. We're grown men who are sitting here celebrating, clapping, and you know what?
Oh yeah. Sometimes it doesn't happen at the first time. Okay, so
Yep. I mean, especially when we're not. Either one of us is completely sober at this point, which helps the whole situation.
Hey, whatever, man. Hey, shh.
Don't tell the people. Don't tell the people. We're part of a podcast network now, Josh.
Oh,
we have a reputation to hold up.
Oh, right. Shit.
Yes, we did. We did it. Indeed. Goddamn. English, everybody, is a language I have spoken before today. I promise you. But we are now part of the Slash and Cast podcast network.
Hell yeah.
Woo-hoo. So
insert. No, don't insert anything.
Insert like crowd cheering now.
Woo!
We do. You don't want any more singing, man. I was singing on my stream today, and someone turned it into a remix of something, and it's not something we need in our lives again.
Oh no.
Oh no. But yeah, so we joined a super talented group of podcasts with the Slash and Cast network, and people that I've been friends with for a while, and people in things like the Dead in Santa Carla guys. So it's super dope, and I'm super excited for it. It's just cool to sit there and be in a network and just be in a Discord with a bunch of dudes who just love horror as much as you do. So
yes. Well, that's why I love this show as well, or just in general. Well, I don't know, man. Like I have well, I think I said this last time. I don't really listen to podcasts overly, and now I'm starting to because I'm like being introduced through you, and I don't know. It's cool, man. Like I like this, and that's what I've always loved about like a lot of my like closer friends, and that's how I would always watch movies. Is we would go for a beer before to like discuss pretty much movies, and then go for beers after the movie to like full on deep dive like. Not in. I guess we're just full on movie nerds wholeheartedly because like they knew us at that bar at the by the theater.
I mean, yeah, that's when you start every single time you're in there and they're like you're yelling about how bad was John Travolta in some movie and and you go, oh, okay.
His last movie got 0.
Dude, have you seen The Fanatic?
No, I haven't seen it.
It's some of the worst cinema I've ever seen. And here, I'm going to play a clip from this and tell me what you think about this.
I can't talk too long. I got to poo.
I play that clip in my stream because it is literally John Travolta in The Fanatic going, I can't talk too long. I got to poo. It's a monstrosity that everyone who loves horror should watch immediately because it's so terrible. And John Travolta dresses up like, I think he dresses up like Jason in the movie.
Oh
but
my God.
He's in the funny part about it is he's like in a Jason mask in like a mechanic suit. So he's like Michael Myers with a Jason mask. And it's like, man, you give 0 fucks, huh, Fred Durst?
I want to know the producers that like made this happen. Like, hey, I got a wicked project for you, man. Guess who's written and directing it? Or did he write it too? I think he wrote it too.
I think he wrote it too because it's I mean, it has such amazing like lines as this cop gets in the car and turns on Limp Bizkit and he's like, man, this was my shit back in the day to his son. And it's just like, oh my God.
Oh, it's so forced.
It's so cringe. It is so cringe. Like, no.
How are you that dense that you don't know you're making something this terrible? Was he trying to make like the Room style like bad movie, or is it just
No.
Yeah, okay.
I think he thought he was like making this artsy movie, and you're like, nah, man, this shit ain't artsy.
Unlike the movie we did see this week,
Yes.
which I would put under the artsy category,
Oh.
like huge. I love the score, man. Holy shit.
Yeah, this movie is great. So, yes. So, everybody, thank you for taking us into the Slash and Cast podcast network. You guys are awesome, and we're excited to collaborate and do all this shit with you guys. So, yeah. So we'll talk
My
about this
segue powers, man. My segue powers.
Your segue powers. We'll talk about the movie itself and try not to spoil it, and then we'll spoil it here as we usually do, because I
Then
know
we'll cut the movie's head off and put it in the toilet.
The thing is, like, we have a lot of people. We talk about weirder movies, right? So a lot of people haven't seen a lot of them, and
Yeah, but this movie's 10 years old, so fucking grow up.
it's Korean, man, and you've never seen it before last night.
We're gonna yeah, I know. And there's a lot, and okay, so this is like the disclaimer for like when there's a bunch of movies that I haven't seen on like a list for like huge horror fanatics. There's a bunch of movies on big lists that I haven't seen, but I'm using this as an excuse to finally get more horror movies on the living room TV. So like we're both potentially forcing our partners to watch more horror movies as well. So, hey, more horror around the world is a better place.
So someone reached out to me after watching this, because I told them after our survey last week, and was like, no, this movie is a thriller. And because he pointed out, I've said that Silence of the Lambs is a thriller. And I said, I think there's
I love the sigh. That was a perfect fucking sigh.
It's just like, man,
It's like
I just think there's a distinct difference between the Silence of the Lambs and this movie, just because of the visceral feeling to it over Silence of the Lambs, right? Silence of the Lambs relies on psychological like terror way more than like just violence, right? And this movie is
this movie positions like the right sequences in the right order to get a very horrific reaction out of an audience. And it's very easily done too. Like, I don't know, man. Like it's use of nudity right before something overly violent that makes it seem 10 times more violent. And it's just like a flash of nudity, but it's like perfectly placed to make the scene the scene's whole impact. Like it's like those are very, I don't know, like just he is one of the creepiest villains I've ever seen on film. Like him in those scenes where he's like just like talking to himself and just like justifying it to himself before he does these things is the most terrifying shit I've seen. I'm just like, oh fuck, man, like it's so bad.
Now that this is a side note, but now that you've seen, the guy's name is Min Sik Choi, I think this is how you pronounce it. This is one of the best actors ever. He's the main character of Old Boy. Yeah. And Old Boy is,
and like, that's one that I haven't seen either, man.
It is in my top 5 movies of all time. And that's how much I love Old Boy.
And I've tried to put it on so many times, and that's one that if it's for something like a show like this, I'm more,
dude, going off, and like I think we both kind of agreed that this is more horror than thriller. Yeah. Although it's heavy on the thriller elements.
It's because of the length that it teeter-totters. Because if they shaved off, which I feel like if they shaved off maybe 30 minutes to 40 minutes of this movie, it would have been a straight horror movie. And that extra 30 minutes, which honestly could have been shaved off, was just almost filler to add different tone to the movie that honestly didn't need to be there for me. So if the movie was a little lighter on time and cut out some of that bullshit stuff, this movie would have been like perfect for me, because I like a little shorter movies anyways. But
I'll go into details with it later, but the main character does something to the villain like 3 times, and or 4 times or whatever it is, maybe if you cut one of those whole 4 times out, then maybe, I don't know. It's like,
because like you get the reveal after the first time, and because like after the first time you're like, but why for like a while, and then you're like, oh, so there's like another reveal, but then after that reveal you didn't need 2 fucking more times of it. It was just like, it was gratuitous at that point. And it was, and it didn't add to the movie either. It's like, you got it that he was gonna go there, and you didn't really you know.
I think there's a lot with it, with just like, I don't know, I think thrillers tend to rely more on just like adrenaline, like, not even maybe.
Yeah, but this movie did the action scenes really well too. Like what you normally would see in like Jet Li or like just straight up like kung fu action movie. Yeah, it was like that level of like precision was done on those scenes in this movie as well. So like, that's why the teeter-totter, I was like, holy action. And like the cinematography was so cool too, because like there was like a weird DIY sense to the following scenes, and like when he was getting kicked into the bathroom, like the cameraman was getting kicked into the door as well. I was like, that is so cool before the cut. Like that type of stuff I really enjoyed in this movie, but that's I don't know.
I've found through watching enough like Korean cinema that they often do better with that stuff than like American directors. So it's, and maybe it's just because they're, I don't know, I go along with their sense of like filmmaking, you know. I like, it excites me more because of just the elements
they
of
don't
it, you know?
See, I'm very excited to watch more, because I feel like all the rules that there are, like the norms, the unwritten rules of film, and like you can either choose to follow them or not follow them, or walk the line like Quentin Tarantino does, or whatever. And I feel like with the foreign movies, they follow a slightly different like set of rules ish with a few things, and like the decisions they make I love, because it's so different than what I'm used to seeing, and like in very good ways. I'm excited to watch more foreign, man.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons I really wanted to start this podcast. Like, in one of the things I wanted to focus on, because I feel like these movies, like I Saw the Devil, is something that I know I've seen, but like I don't know enough horror people, like, you know, horror fans have like reached out to these movies coming from Korea and Japan and China and Mexico and all this stuff. It's like, I've watched a lot of foreign horror over the years, and
I probably have as well, but I just, there's a bucket list of movies that I still need to see.
When I got out of college, I had a real, like, I was getting real heavy into like Asian cinema, and it was something I really enjoyed a lot of. And this movie was one of those movies that I caught like in that time period, and it made me fall in love with, like, I mean, things like Old Boy. I talk about Old Boy, and Old Boy might be the one that drove all that stuff for me. But
and I hear this every time I talk about still not watching it. Everyone's like, yeah, but watch the original and fuck the remake. And I love when people feel so like heated about a remake, like I feel about A Nightmare on Elm Street. It's just like, what? You missed the point of the character completely. What the fuck was that remake? Like, so mad about that.
When you take a masterpiece, and I will fight until the end of time that Old Boy is that masterpiece, and you remake it, you better A, hit the level that the original was on, and B, prove yourself worthy of, or prove yourself why you did that, why you had the balls to go and take on something like that. Because, man, you fucked that up. And again, you're talking about that remake and one of the like, not that it's a remake, but the Thing prequel reboot.
Oh, right.
That movie makes me angry. It makes me angry because of the how much I love the Thing. This will be a thing. I talk about the Thing all the time because
but they didn't do it justice because the Thing is like almost the bar has been set for like crown achievement in like special effects, like practical special effects, and then they come out with the fucking remake and they don't do practical special effects.
So they actually did, but then I think for all of them, if not most of them, then they came in and put CGI on top of it.
But why?
Which is the biggest tragedy in like all of that. If that was there, I don't think that movie would have been as good even then. But like, that's a big.
And I love Mary Elizabeth Winstead. She's in some cool movies.
We just
like, I mean, Scott Pilgrim is like one of my favorite movies.
I mean, so Scott Pilgrim's on my wall right there because it's one of my favorite movies ever.
I have a Shaun of the Dead big guy.
That's one of those movies. It's one of those movies like that really. I don't have to watch it every day to like remember how much I love it and how much. It's one of those movies that just feels like pure cinema joy to me, right? Like it's just pure cinema joy.
I don't know. But Scott Pilgrim is just like a step above so many other movies in like years on either side of it that it's just like I don't understand how it was a flop by any means. It is like one of the best movies made in like a fucking decade. It doesn't make sense to me, man. It's too good.
It doesn't make any sense, dude. But that's what's the case with how many movies? So,
well, I mean
again,
in that genre.
I feel like America is super bad at going out and accepting foreign film, right? Like we're talking about, and so it's just like trying to spread all of that, man. Just spread it all out. So this movie came out in 2010. It is directed by, like I said, what's his damn name?
Ji-Woon Kim.
Ji-Woo Kim, yeah. And
written and directed.
Yep. And starring, we talked about Min-Sik Choi. The other main is Byung Hun Lee, and dude, they're both. You talked about how
he was so good in this, actually, like really fucking good in this.
He has this thing where he's playing like their equivalent of a Secret Service or FBI.
Okay, 007. But this is I wish I knew this before. The synopsis to this movie is a secret agent a secret agent exacts revenge on a serial killer through a series of capture and releases. So that, I didn't know that, but I kind of did. But the secret agent part, like they kind of set that up a little bit. Yeah, at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, they have his like they say he's just like FBI or something like that because he's.
But I didn't really get that he was a secret agent until like way into the middle of the movie when he was getting away with a whole bunch of shit, and they're just like, he's just like clean it up, and I was like, oh, he's like 007 or something. Like, is that who this guy? Like, I didn't know who we were dealing with until pretty much the halfway point of the movie, and then I was kind of like, oh, so the rules just don't apply to him. Like, he's literally just 007.
I think it's. I mean, not going into the ending, but like he learns by the end of the movie that he is. His power, he doesn't care is basically what it is. I think it is. He learns that he doesn't care, and that when you don't care, you'll do anything, right? So,
but he also, in bringing him back for the series, that they start to rely on one another so much that it's a cool like Batman and a villain style like relationship where like. The Joker can't live without the Batman harassing him. And like, that's literally the relationship these two have. It's like, I can't, he's like, oh, this is kind of actually fun.
Well,
like,
the one character goes, it's funny how big of a monster you've created or something like that. Like similar at the dinner scene, which it's talking to him because he made the cop dude.
Some of the gags in this movie are just crazy, and I'm like, that's where like I feel like foreign horror usually goes like a little crazier, or like any American horror I guess maybe isn't allowed to get away with going too crazy, or I don't know, because like I always think the gags are way crazier I've ever seen in horror. I don't know, that like the rip was pretty good.
oh when he's ripping his mouth open. It's dude, it's not today, but I brought it up before. The Ichi the Killer is a movie made by Takashi Miike, who did Audition, which is the one that most people have heard of, and we've even talked about it. And the main character has his like these slits in his mouth like that kind of, and but like way further out, and it's like kind of just reminds me of the whole Heath Ledger Joker and his big old scars that like never really get explained in the movie. But yeah, so that stuff is, you start going, they hit harder, especially if it's mainstream like cinema, right? Like that'd be like doing Bad Boys with Martin Lawrence and Will Smith, and they're like ripping people's dicks off and stuff like that. It's like, it's pretty hardcore for that like kind of setup, right? For being like a big Korean movie, right? So like if it was a big American movie. So yeah. Hey everybody, we had a slight delay. Josh had to go deal with some shit, so I'm doing a quick break, hence the breaking news kind of intro here. Couple things. We are on the Slash and Cast podcast network now, so thumbs up again. 2, we do have our Patreon. Josh and I still haven't worked out everything, but that's going to be coming up. So if you look for Murder Moose on Patreon and you just want to throw, you don't need to, but it's there. So that's in there. And our Discord's up. There will be a link going out, but it's going to be discord.me/Murder Moose. So that is there. So you're going to be able to talk about horror movies with us on Discord. So I think that's basically everything. Thanks for listening, guys. All the love and support we got and are getting is awesome. So thank you so much. Hope you enjoy the rest of this episode, and have a good one, my friends.
Oh, we clapped again at the same time.
We are 2 for 2 today. Josh got really bad diarrhea. Had to leave real quick. Kids. He has a 6-year-old, and the 6-year-old had to go to sleep. So.
No, it wasn't my 6-year-old.
Oh, it was the little one.
It was my 1-year-old.
Oh, I thought the 6-year-old was a problem. I don't know how often a 6-year-old has like, okay, this is my context to having children. Like, there is no context for me. That's my context.
No, Allie's, I don't know. She's usually asleep by now.
Yeah.
But she's usually like literally jumping off her bed and like running and waking her sister up until like a half an hour before now. So
that's what I was figuring was happening. It was just like a sugared up 6-year-old that wouldn't go to sleep. So that's what I was assuming. So
that's earlier than now. Yeah.
Okay. So we were bullshitting about all this, but so like let's give our overview of the whole movie and then suggest it or not. And then which we've already sung this movie's praise a bunch in the last whatever. But yeah, so this movie is about this cop who's getting revenge on a serial killer. What makes me laugh, I'll go into the review, but which makes me laugh. But we were talking about it. It's kind of a thriller movie setup, but just with extreme amounts of gore and just how it handles killing, which I think is very, very horror movie-esque, and why I think this is...
Honestly, I've been watching a lot of different shows, and it's all in what you choose, like through the eyes of who, right? So like that same exact sequence could have been filmed just a little bit differently, and like that's where the cinematography really adds to how creepy this movie ends up being. And like if it was filmed because the story could go literally, it could be an action movie.
Yeah.
The story is an action movie story, but because it is forced through the eyes of the psychotic person, and then creating another psychotic person, it's just really whoa. The way these people think and their norms is what you are put through, and it's like, that's normal to you, and it's like, what?
There's one thing with that I want to bring up when we talk about the spoilers, but yeah, it's the norms. It makes me laugh the way you put that, but it's so this
because this, I love how they cut it though, because like what they show him do, like horrific things, very horrific things, and it's just another day at the job for him. Like, and that's literally how they set up this character. He's just like, oh fuck, well that was a hard one, well whatever, let's go, and like walks away, like clean, like that was just another day at the office for him.
No, because the whole his whole rampage, he was not at the office.
Well, no, I mean like his killing room that he killed the wife in. Yeah, that's his office. Yeah. Like that is his office. That's just another day at the office, and that's how they set it up. And it's just like, oh, there's the bucket of parts, and it just goes over there, and then you sweep the floor, and then you hang up the trench, and then you close the doors. Just another day at the office. Like that's kind of what it was, right? It was a sequence of events that, like that's how it was. Like
this is how you can compare it. You never see Jason Voorhees on his off day, like when he's sitting there, like eating s'mores and shit. But no, like it's always with Jason, it's always about killing. With Freddy, it's always about killing because they're not human. Even like Michael Myers, like what is Michael Myers? Like takes 10 years off and then kills people for a night and then goes back to the nut hut, right? So the crazy place, the psychiatric hospital.
It's because he did it with the cool mask that he became an icon.
Yeah.
This is 10 times scarier, and this is what I did with my last short film too. It was to show the eyes. I really wanted it all to be about the eyes, and they do that so much in this movie. They show the eyes and behind the eyes of the murderer, the killer, it makes it so much scarier to me because he just walks up stone-faced, and you're just like, the opening sequence alone, it was like up there with like It, I felt like, with like how it was just like
how brutal it opens up.
It was brutal, and it really sets the character up, and you're like, this guy is fucking brutal. Holy shit.
It's funny because you're gonna go back, and this is kind of an easy comparison. Like Silence of the Lambs, Buffalo Bill is doing horrific things, but the horrific things are mostly off screen, right? He's like doing all this stuff, and it's like
tasteful.
Yeah.
This goes to, it feels like Hostel levels and above for effect, and it works, and it's not tasteful in some places, but other places I feel like it's done almost like masterfully, like they used it very well to add to stuff, and then it gets heavy-handed at the end. Like the length of this movie, it becomes, I don't know, I guess it could be almost considered potentially on purpose because of the character and the fact that he's just doing it over and over. Like, what is he getting out of this? He's just doing it to do it, just to get to the next one and be like just disgusting again and again, right? Like, and it's almost felt like the movie's length was almost like gratuitous at the same time, just to be.
So
I don't know.
What was the actual runtime? It was 100. Oh, where was it? 2 hours and 24 minutes. It says on IMDb. It's. I mean, we've pointed out multiple times. We both like putting in horror movies less than 90 minutes. But
it's not even that long of a movie, and I'm complaining. But
I mean,
I guess 2 hours 20 minutes is kind of long for something like this.
Well, for horror too, right? Horror movies don't usually go much longer than 90 minutes. I mean, you have longer stuff, but it usually doesn't.
I think it's just because I'm so ADD that like a runtime over 2 hours and it's not done by like one of my favorite directors,
Yeah.
I just in installing that much time into something, it's like it's an effort then
Yeah.
for me for some reason. I don't know why.
You know what? It's probably it's my biggest issue with the movie too, and I don't have very many issues with the movie, but the length is
No, that's
So yeah, this movie is, if you haven't seen it, it is free on Tubi right now, which you should check out Tubi anyways, which is like YouTube but with
right.
movies, right? And so it's on there right now, and I would go check it out for sure. It's extreme gore, like the action's awesome. There's like everything
Okay,
about this
dude.
movie is cool. The length's a little bit of a problem for Josh, but that's
We should come up with like an actual rating system for our show right now. Episode whatever 6 or
5.
whatever this is.
It's 5 or 6 or whatever. Okay, this is what we're gonna do then. So we're based on mooses, right? And we're murder
Yeah.
mooses. So I think antlers have to be involved with this.
Ooh.
But antlers might not be good enough because they only have 2 of them. So if
Well,
we're
how many stabs does the movie? Or I don't even know. Maybe we'll put a hat on it for now, and by the end of the show, maybe it will have something.
maybe it'll be there. Yeah, but I give this right now. I give it, instead of 2 thumbs up, we could give it 2 moose horns up. But I don't know if that's enough. But yes, I would definitely go see this if you don't want it spoiled. Go watch it and you can come back. But it's a good time. Just be wary. It's pretty intense in places, right? So
Oh yeah. Be warned that it does go kind of. I don't know. It's not. Oh, maybe that heel scene that was pretty.
Yeah, there's very sexually assaulty level things that kind of happen
Yeah.
in the drama, like, and you don't see as much. And horror, I mean, it happens, but it's usually in stuff that's very specific to that, like Last
It
House
goes
on the
places that you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes you feel uncomfortable as an audience member
Yeah.
for a large portion of this movie, for sure.
Yeah. So just be wary of that. But the movie overall is awesome. It's really, really good. It's one of my more, I don't know how to put this. It's one of my favorite Korean movies for sure. But like, it's one of those movies I always think super fondly of, which means a lot with horror. So,
Well, I'm glad I got to watch it.
yeah. Okay, cool. Go watch it if you're going to. So yeah, let's get into this. This whole go better over into this. So this secret agent, man, he's working some night and his wife's going out to do something, and or fiance. I don't know if they were actually married. I think they said his fiance at one point. She's blows a flat tire somewhere and is sitting there waiting because it's like a snowy night, and this driving school van shows up behind her and ends up being a very, very mean individual who's a serial killer.
That like little yellow bus is such a good, creepy as fucking hell cover, but like they use all the set pieces so well in this, but it really confused me. And this is like, my wife didn't watch the whole thing. I thought just got tired and left, but she was getting pretty uncomfortable as well. But she was like, what the hell is going on? Like when they find the head and like the whole freaking city is just like going nuts. I was like, well, we don't know. Like this could be like a really high profile case in America. This would be like the paparazzi and other stuff. Like you don't know. Like we just don't know how they do things over there either, right? So like that's the only like honestly like culture shock moment I had in the movie,
So,
other than
the only thing I could think of that goes along with that, it's the police chief's daughter. Like his fiance is like the police chief's daughter. So maybe because she was missing, that's why there's that many people out looking for her. I mean, It's like you don't know she's the police chief's daughter until like
Yeah, like that's
bit
where
after
like
that.
there was a little bit of like you had to fill in the blanks
Yeah.
in the story until that middle part where it's like you get that realization, but
Yeah.
you shouldn't have needed to get that
Yeah.
realization. Like it was just
Well,
it didn't
again, it's
it
that
didn't fill it in.
it's like the
enough.
culture thing too. You don't know what's normal
Yeah.
and what kind of like cop team. It very much reminds me of things like you know the movie where the suburban wife goes missing and they have like you know the whole neighborhood out in the
Yeah.
woods like looking for her. That kind of thing. That's what it kind
But
of
I
reminds
just
me of.
I loved seeing the cliche like film zoom in stuff that you see in like
Yeah.
the action movies and stuff. Like
Yeah.
that's the stuff and all the tropes that they use in different like foreign movies that I loved seeing
Yeah.
used in this as well. Like I don't know. I love that style and I'm happy to see it because
Yeah.
I haven't watched enough, man.
Yeah, definitely, dude. Doesn't want to do this. So, the guy, yeah, you say that the wife goes missing. He drags her off. They have a big old team of people looking for her, and they find her head. The fucked up part about all of that is that she goes like while he's murdering her, she's like, "I'm pregnant," and then he immediately cuts her head off right away, which is, I think
That's like when you know this is like one of the craziest characters you're
Yeah.
gonna see on film.
yeah. And he actually probably isn't the craziest character in the whole movie, but he's right up there. And so yeah, then the boyfriend fiance figures all this out, and they have funerals, and then he's like, I'm taking 2 weeks off. They're like, you don't need more? And he's like, nah, I'm good. 2 weeks is good. I don't know why you just didn't say, yeah, no, I'm not. I'm never coming back. And he goes looking. So the cops had 3 suspects, and so they give him these suspects.
No, he had 4.
Was it 4?
4 suspects.
Okay,
Yeah, but he only
gets
gets to 3 because on the third one it's the right
Yeah.
guy. Just imagine being that how lucky that 4th guy, because the first guy got his freaking nuts just destroyed.
That's what I was talking to you about yesterday when we were playing Call of Duty. I was like, oh, there's a hammer thing. He like hammers this guy's testicles.
No, he monkey wrenches his testicles.
Is that a monkey wrench? I thought it was a hammer.
Yeah. No, it's a monkey wrench.
Oh, yeah. Well, it doesn't matter. He smashes the shit out of him, and the guy goes and turns himself in because he gets the shit kicked out of him so bad. They didn't.
See, that's the like lighthearted action movie, like clean up the mess. Like it turns into like a weird G.I. Joe movie in the halls of the. It's like, oh, not another one. And then that's where like the tone of this was like, what is going on? Because like it opens with like amazing score and like it sets up all the horrific stuff, like, you know, kind of weird angles sometimes to add to like the artsy factor of it. And I was like, whoa, this is a really nice package if this is going to be like this the whole time. And then like the tone just teeter totters and switches, and it's like this weird zany like I don't know, like it was like weird in parts, but I liked it. It was fun.
That so he gets this guy, and when he moves on to the next guy, and he beats the shit out of this dude too. He doesn't smash his testicles though, so the second guy gets it off better than the first guy. And then he goes on to the third guy, and he ends up tracking him down through his family, and it ends up being the character that killed his fiance. Again, played by Min Sik Choi, and man, he's still one of my favorite Korean actors, if not one of my favorite actors of all time, just because of this and Old Boy. But yeah, it is. He is a creep, man. He is a total creep. So they checks him down through his family, who he abandoned his son and everything like that. His parents are like, they all hate him. But
Oh, he did A Tale of Two Sisters too. I've heard that's a really good movie.
yeah,
Well, I
that's one of
haven't
those
seen
ones
it.
I have not seen actually. Maybe we do that soon. Also, I'm cool with that. I've heard good things.
That's one of his earlier films. Yeah.
The cover looks. Go back and forth between if it looks like it's direct to DVD cover or it is really really cool. But the amount of blood it's.
Yeah.
I don't see it being a normal movie poster in America, at least. But
Yeah, totally.
so then he tracks down this guy, and he was about to kill someone, right? He was about to kill another victim, and he beats the living crap out of him, right? Or is that the second time he catches him?
Man, I was just surprised at how, like, I was like, what universe do they live in where you just, like, get to kill so many people, like, everywhere, and nobody fucking cares? Like, nobody cares that everyone is getting murdered everywhere.
No, they
like,
care.
everywhere.
Well, I mean, the cops care about it's a little weird because you're right. So
He was just, like, out in the street with his knife and just, like, and everyone was just like, oh, not again. Like,
it's like a Yakuza the video game. Like, it's just some crazy dudes going down the street just killing
weird
everyone.
GTA
Yeah.
fucking universe they live in. Like,
Yeah, it's weird because this guy is like, you're right. It's they figure out it's the main character doing it, and they're just like they get his former fiance's dad, the police chief, to call him and be like, please stop. And that's like their plea. They're like, he's like, please stop killing crazy people. Yeah, I don't know how many of them he killed, but
well, it's not even that. Like, because he's allowing this cat and mouse game to happen, the other guy's killing like a bunch of people and raping a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And that is
he doesn't.
not collateral damage that I feel is acceptable. Come on, man. That is not fucking acceptable.
It's not.
Like,
He doesn't
stop
actually,
it now.
He doesn't kill anyone until the end. He
but
tries
he's still
to.
allowing them to like
and it's
get
close
to the point.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
So he like stops him from like killing a hooker or something like that, and then he kidnaps like a high school like girl and is about to rape and murder her, and he stops that one. But yeah, it's way too close for comfort.
It's way too late.
Yeah.
It's way too late
It's
every
like-
time. It's just like, why are you still allowing this guy? Like, are you having fun with this? You
Yeah.
like
And that's the
coming
theme, right?
in on this stuff? Like, what are you, like, why,
That's
man?
the theme, because at some point the guy is hanging out at a like the Korean equivalent of the guy from the older brother from Texas Chainsaw Massacre who just wants to eat everybody, kind of like that, his Korean equivalent.
Yeah. Once you go and eat human meat, you'll never. Yeah, that was weird.
He's eating like human meat in the weirdest, like, it looks like he's like eating human meat in sour, like a sweet and sour sauce. It looks like, or something like that. You know what I mean? It's like, but yeah. So he at one point,
raw, still bloody.
yeah,
loves
he
it.
goes,
And
he
he's
goes,
like ASMR in it the entire time. So good. Oh my god! They wanted to get, but that's the type of horror that this is. It goes.
yeah,
It goes over the top and really wants to make you feel uncomfortable,
Yeah.
and it does a really good job of
Yeah.
doing that. And that's where, like, we're used to horror being scary,
yeah,
whereas this is being horrific,
Yeah.
and that is horrific.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
that's the horror that this is. It's
Yeah.
just showing how horrific this stuff actually is, and not panning away like we're used to
Yeah.
here in North America and stuff. Like, it doesn't pan away, and it's like, no, this is the norm for these
Yeah.
people. So you watch it through their eyes.
Yeah.
That's just it. Like, he's just watching a normal conversation.
yeah.
And that's why we get to see just every sound and how horrific everything is, because you're seeing it through the eyes of a monster.
Yeah. Okay. So he catches him. The cop tracks him down. He catches him. He what does he do to him the first time? Does he makes him swallow the thing, right? But he knocks him out, right? He just knocks him out, and it makes him swallow this tracker slash
Is it a microphone?
microphone.
Well,
Yeah,
guess?
I do not know how you heard all the dialogue coming out of this dude with this thing inside of him as well as he did. Like, everything was
that's like plot hole shit, but
crystal clear. Like it made it sound like, but you don't technically ever hear it from his perspective, so we don't know for sure how good it is.
He sets it up in front of him so many times as like fuck you, man. You hear me? Fuck you, man. At the end, remember?
Well, I mean, that's what he knows. Yeah, he knows that
after
they know.
He figures it out.
Yeah, because
setting it up just like a microphone. So then that's where you start to think like, wait. You just dug through your shit for that. So like how exactly was he hearing you?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, because he wanted to get rid of it, right? But yeah. And then he gets this dude to swallow this thing, this tracker thing, and lets him go with a bunch of money. Like a bunch of money. I don't know how much Korean money it is. It looks like it's a lot. It could be like $8.72, but
I have no clue.
He wanted to give him enough to like be able to run away, and he did. So he lets this criminal get out because he wants to fuck with him, basically. He like breaks his arm, right? And then he shows up this is where the second one is like a nurse, and he's trying to like murder this nurse after he got his arm fixed, and he almost kills her, and then he shows up again. And this is what you're talking about, though. It's like this guy, this nurse wouldn't have been almost murder raped if this dude hadn't have like decided that he wasn't gonna either kill this dude or turn him into the cops, right?
Like he let it get to the point where she was about to break.
Yep.
Like there was not enough clothes left on her, and her mind was about to go to the point where it's like, no, and then he comes and saves the day.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck, man? You were listening. Well, no, why weren't you listening?
Yeah.
You know this guy is.
Well,
and then he tunes in, and he's like, oh yeah, just what I thought. Mm-hmm.
I might want to do something about this dude getting super, super rapey. And yeah, it has, so like he comes in and saves this nurse and then does one of the most gnarly things I think I've ever seen in a movie, where he beats the crap out of this guy again, and then like I don't know what he takes, but he like pokes a hole through this dude's Achilles tendon,
Ugh.
and then
I
snaps it.
hate that shit. I hate that
Yeah.
shit.
I don't like
that one. I was just like, oh, okay. And it's just like the gag.
Yeah.
Close up. Okay. It's steady. It's good. It's
it's
right in frame. Let's see it. Oh, it's on frame for a minute and a half. Okay. There it is.
Yeah. It is. It's stuff that kind right there is stuff that you don't see very often. You don't see it in big budget American movies, right? Like outside of things like Hostel and stuff, like when torture porn was a bigger thing, but you don't see it very often in like American cinema. And man, that is not an easy watch.
It goes for the shock.
Yeah.
And then it goes for the length shock too. I was like, oh, real? Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Now it's just a Family Guy joke.
Yeah. So he fucks this guy up again, and then he ends up. What point? I forget. Like at some point, this is the thing that was like. I think it was after the first time he captures him and lets him go. He gets picked up by this taxi, and it ends up being
after the Achilles tendon part. I'm just like, you know what? I'm bored of this now. Like you can't. Like even if you do top it, I don't want you to. It's just like stop.
Josh, you're not talking like you like this movie anymore.
Well, no, I did, but like I've just like I don't know, man. It ended up being like good what they did, because if they ended up trying to top themselves again and again, like they didn't end up doing that, and I'm thankful, because it would have just been like too torturous to watch. I think at that point. I'm just saying at that point, that's how I felt. Yeah, like Yeah, in
you
the movie.
you thought you were like, oh no, this is too over the
Yeah,
top.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, for sure.
So he fucks this guy's Achilles tendon, which is horrifying. Lets the guy go again. Where does he end up at this time? This is where he ends up. Oh no, real quick. Let's talk about the other thing. The damn taxi. So
I do like gags and horror and stuff like that,
Yeah.
but for some reason, just this character, and like, I was like affected more by the like shocking stuff because of what it was attached to.
yeah,
So it affected me more
yeah,
than like the other times you see more like horrific things. I don't know why I'm just not attached to it more, but like this,
Yeah.
it got under my skin a little more. So I was like, yeah, ugh.
yeah. So after the first time he gets captured and released, this guy gets picked up by a taxi, right? This taxi ends up being serial killers, which is the part that I don't understand because
But that's where I was like, what universe is this? Is
Yeah.
this like some weird GTA universe?
Yeah.
Like this is all just like
it makes more sense with the second one. Like the second one makes kind of sense. But yeah, there are just like 3 active serial killers just running around this tiny town together. Like they're like, oh, we're gonna all kill people, not together because he didn't know the taxi guys. I don't know how he knew what was going on with the taxi guys. Maybe he could just like
he saw that the taxi driver
Oh.
wasn't the taxi driver.
Oh, is that what it was?
because
Okay.
His license is right up there, so he
Yeah.
noticed that and was like, and then he noticed the guy in the back being all fidgety, and then they like showed he had like a spider sense that the guy cocked out a knife or something,
yeah,
and then that's when he was like,
you can't defeat me.
oh.
It's very odd because like the whole movie, every time anyone besides the main character try to fuck with this dude, he just destroys him.
He is like, wow,
Yeah.
super strength, super villain, like super power. Who is this guy?
Yeah.
He's fucking crazy.
It's
But
yeah,
it makes him even scarier because
Yeah.
he's like, I don't know, like
yeah,
he thought he had it like all figured out and stuff. That's why I love how the 2 characters are introduced early on
yeah,
and get to fuck with each other for a
Yeah.
while is kind of cool because like he's like, I can't believe the cops found me this quick, but it's because the other guy is willing to go straight
yeah.
to the balls too and went to his family.
Yeah.
And like it really goes to show
Yeah.
at the end for sure.
Yeah,
that
it's
they're both fucking monsters.
yeah, they're both complete monsters. I mean, the one guy is obviously it's like he's more like the Punisher, like as a monster,
Yeah.
like that level monster where he's doing these horrific things in good, like in the
Yeah,
good
yeah.
name of whatever. But
Saw style.
yeah. So at this point, he lets him go again, and for some reason, this guy decides he's going to drive his school bus thing around and pick up high school girls, which is
no.
weird.
That's his job. That was his
I know,
job.
but like what I'm saying is, he decides to do
in
it.
the thick of everything.
Yeah, in the thick of everything.
all
He's
of
like,
this. Yeah.
I've like been kidnapped and had the shit kicked out of me, not once, but twice. And I'm gonna go
But I'm gonna go back to work.
I'm gonna go back to work. Nothing bad could happen here. And at this point is
Maybe he just wanted a big score. Who
I mean,
knows?
obviously, because he doesn't ever plan on like taking all of them home. He picks one out and he's gonna go take her to this greenhouse in the middle of nowhere and just kill her. And it's horrifying because you're just like, she wakes up
Yeah,
and
that
all the
was-
other girls are gone, and you're just like, oh no, because you know what this monster's done like
That
already. And
that was such a bad fucking
Yeah.
there's so many, like so uncomfortable and so like horrific.
yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean, he's taking down like a high school girl's friggin' panties in the middle of a field, and you're just like, oh my god, this is so. It's so graphic into the point of you're like, and this is all happening. Like we said it before, it's all happening because the main character wanted to fuck with this dude and has become a monster, you know. But the main character shows up before this girl actually gets raped, just like the last one. And is this where they fuck each other up bad enough they both end up knocked out? Is that the point? I think it is, right? Where they fight and they both end up in the hospital.
Yeah.
And the hero's not that fucked up, but the other dude's knocked out for like a long time, and the guy's like, "Oh, your tracking device is still like working, right? And it'll be fine unless he gets diarrhea." And then the guy was actually awake at that point, which they said he wasn't, and he's like, "Oh fuck, that's how he's been following me around this whole time," because he doesn't understand. He's like, "What the fuck?" And oh no, he's okay.
That was his realization point. Yeah,
but that happens after the
turning point.
After the fucking there was one more. It was the what we were just talking about. He goes to the the Manson
but
house.
there's like you could have cut out 2 of them and it would not have mattered to the whole storyline at all.
Yeah.
Like it didn't add to it or like make you think more or less of it. It was just over the top at that point.
I think it might have like maybe one extra with the 4. I think you could have gone to
I think there was
3 and accomplished the same thing. So after they fight at the field, he does let him go again, and then that's when he goes to this serial killer's house that he knows. Like he knows this guy who is like running a serial killer bed and breakfast. It seems like
it's like essentially like
it's
the best abandoned place I've ever seen.
Yeah. Oh, it's a fucking
mansion.
Gorgeous. Like it looks like they took a really old barn and turned it into like an inn in the early to mid 1900s. It looks like.
Yeah.
And it's
but that's where again I was like, what universe is this?
That's
like,
the biggest thing.
They?
Yeah, it's like it's like serial killers are way more common than they are. Like
Yeah.
It like if this universe, it would be like every other week on 2020 there would be a different serial killer being brought in, and like a major serial killer.
I'm like, is this normal over there? Or like, I'm like, I don't know. Like,
so it's funny because like this whole part is like when this guy finally
Parasite, and that's like a universe and a world that like makes sense, but it's like real. That's like real, but like this is not really set down to earth as much.
The most fucked up part about this whole part is like, so the guy's sitting there, and at one point, like he goes into, he's like trying to make himself more food, and there's just like bodies everywhere. Like the refrigerator's got like arms and legs, and he's like, "Oh, I used all the guts, fuck." And then he's got like 20 girls locked in these horse stalls or something like that, and you're like, what the fuck is this psycho? And this guy is like, he's like happy-go-lucky serial killer, unlike the other guy who's just like hardcore, like
he's smiling the whole time and laughing and saying, don't you remember your sister?
Yeah,
she fought and she got tortured.
Yeah,
she died, and you're gonna die too. So just sit back and relax. Oh.
I guess sound like a Jimbo from South Park or something. I don't know, but and this is.
I'm gonna make it quick for you. Don't worry. Like
and again another girl that almost gets killed because this guy. Oh, like actually, this probably is the only one that. This is the only one that gets saved because of his rampage. Because like if there's any more in the house, because
yeah. This is where I was like, oh well, at least you followed him and uncovered this mess, and now you can potentially... Okay, so maybe it is now a little half more worth all this weird cherry picking you're doing. Yeah. Like, at least you're uncovering, an underground ring of murderers or some shit.
You saved one girl. You definitely put at least 2 or 3 more into, like, lifelong, like, therapy, but I guess you did save one. So we're okay with it at this point.
I think he just wants the world to suffer because he is fucked now.
Yeah. Oh, so he that's the ending. We'll go into that a little bit, but
because you learn at the beginning of the movie that he is willing to go into a bathroom and sing like a lullaby, and that's how you know that
how much he
loves her and stuff. Like, but that's it. Like, that's all you get of like that character development between him and his wife, and how much I don't think there was enough of like that where these jumps into figuring out these character developments kind of sucked, but whatever. There's going to be a disconnect for sure.
Yeah. Well, so like I said, the main character comes up, Kim Soo Hyun or something like that. I can't. Hyun, maybe. He shows up, saves.
Why am I shitting on this when I liked it?
I don't know, because you're probably thinking about things that like did aggravate you, because it's a cultural thing, like too. It's like we're talking about it again. We're talking about a movie, our expectations or something like this,
right? For sure.
Yeah. But it doesn't matter in the long run, because like, oh fuck, that's really, really good. So,
but that's where I'm like, I love its inconsistencies and like the things where I was like, I brought up at the beginning where I was like, North American movies follow these rules, but like other places don't necessarily follow the exact same rules.
Yeah.
But like, obviously there is a first, second, and third act, but
yeah,
everything in the middle can be fucking whatever icing you want.
Yeah, but like, it's funny because I watched this Saturday night. You watched this last night. Even then, you're like, there's so many incidences of the kidnapping / whatever. You're like,
yeah,
that's like, it gets a little confusing, and that's like part of the thing where it's just like, yeah, maybe they did stuff, but again, it's pacing and everything they accept, and it's just taking something and getting used to it. But yeah. So,
but I'm sure if we start watching a whole bunch of Korean movies, we'll just start to.
Well, I know.
Oh yeah, this is just what
Old Boy's longer too, so maybe we'll watch Old Boy at some point. That is more thriller. It's just really more fucked up thriller. But yeah,
I know there's a hammer in that one.
Yeah, there is it for sure. So the Kim goes through and saves this girl from getting eaten by the crazy cannibal dude. And
barely too. Like, just
barely.
again.
Like, yeah, he's got like a knife up on her when like he saves her. So he saves her. The crazy cannibal guy had a girlfriend who doesn't say anything the whole time. She's just like quiet. Attacks him at some point, and the Min Sik Choi is shooting at him with a double-barreled hunting shotgun, and everything's all fucked up. The house is fucked up, and they both end up really fucked up. Don't kill either one of those other two. So no one's actually even died yet on this rampage, like outside of what this guy was doing before. But at this point,
I just love those moments where like it finally the tables have turned, and like he's being hunted. He's like, oh shit, maybe I should have just killed him. Like,
maybe.
Oh, maybe.
I mean, that's
maybe that last time, or the time before that,
or the time before that.
Shit.
Well, it gets real bad, and there's also some weird inconsistencies at the end where it's like, so like I talked about before, they're both knocked out, and then the tech guy that was helping him was like, "Oh yeah, how's your tracking device that if he gets diarrhea he'll get rid of?" Going, and the guy was listening, goes out and gives himself diarrhea, slits the like pharmacist's neck so that the cop can't go after him right away because he's got to save this dude. Which at that point I actually don't know he would have actually done that. I think he might have like, whatever. And he goes after that, and then he goes and shits out his tracking device, and he ends up going, okay, I'm gonna get you now. And the cop goes into the hospital to find the cannibal guy, and he's like, oh, you don't know who you fucked with, is basically what he says to him, right? And he realizes that this dude goes,
the mega boss.
Yeah. He's a super mega serial killer. This guy is like, well, Hannibal Lecter's a good comparison. I mean, you keep making Silence of the Lambs jokes. He's not that good, but he's killing people. He's like hanging out with people who are eating people, and he's doing a good job of it. But
I would put this villain on like some top 10 lists, man.
Yeah,
sure.
He's super intense, dude. Yeah, so he goes in, the villain, you find out he goes back and kills the girl he killed's father, and then kills her sister. Like, he wiped out this female's character character's entire family, her dad, and her sister in like the course of this movie.
Sheer ruthlessness.
Yeah.
Alone,
Yeah.
I don't even know who compares with the amount of ruthlessness.
Yeah. Well, then,
like honestly, like what other character in horror like compares with
like ruthlessness? Yeah, it's
because like other horror movie characters, like even like in Halloween, there's like a moral code of some sort. This guy has zero moral code.
yeah. He'll kill
Like,
whoever. Yeah.
There's no code whatsoever. He
Yeah.
has a type, but there's like he is like literally.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he doesn't discriminate. I mean, does, but he doesn't, like, because he kills an old man, he kills middle-aged women, but he also almost kills a high school girl. It's a pretty wide-ranging, assortment. So that, yeah, he kills this family. He wipes the rest of them out, and then his evil plan is to turn himself in because he knows this dude won't stop, right? He knows that this is something he's like, yeah, the only way he wins that equation, he gets to turn himself into the cops because he goes to jail for the rest of his life. And he like the fact that he beat this dude, like would drive him crazy. So
that last fucking
this is the most Michael Bay like Bad Boys thing in this entire movie. Like he's walking to turn himself in, and it's not an American movie because he's like running around with a knife covered in blood, and no one shoots him. Like in America, like anytime this guy would have had 1,000 bullets into him. But
that's where I was like, what is this GTA universe? Yeah. Everyone's just like, fuck, not again. Like,
yeah, no, come on. We just swept the street last week. You know how hard it is to get blood off of that yellow sidewalk.
That's a lot of blood, dude.
Yeah, and so the detective, like the FBI guy, Kim, like knocks the door off of his car, like backing up into something, and then like does this John Woo like
or something,
like stop and picks the guy up before he can run into the building through his doorway. That is like,
it was like Fast and the Furious.
Yeah,
like get in.
It's totally hardcore, and he drives off. Like the guy had a knife though. Like I'm not sure why he.
Yeah,
didn't
I know
try to
he would have got stabbed right in the dick.
Yeah,
like right in the dick.
Right in the dude. Butters, you never shoot a guy in the dick, but
like
no.
His feet were dangling out of the car as they drove off, and I was like, that knife is literally right in his dick.
Yeah, while he's driving.
That's
while
all
he's driving, yeah.
Of. As they're driving off into the sunset, I was like, there is a knife
in your dick.
In a dick. Right now.
Man, and talk about horror. This movie, balls getting smashed, dicks getting knifed. Man, this is male horror at its finest, man. Holy shit.
What are you talking about? So many... Did you see it? He was skinning women.
Yep.
And decapitating them. Everything he did was... That's how, like... Yeah, that's why he's, like...
Well, that's...
ruthless and just... Like, it's the worst. Because, like, the way, like, Jason Voorhees kills people... He just, like, stabs them, and it's, like, violent in the act of it. But, like, it's not, like... mechanical about it.
Yeah.
Like he had like a process, and he did it the same way, and it was like a ritual, and it was like this. It was like Dexter-esque, I guess. But like,
very very calculated.
Yeah, but not as like clean and
So then the I think a lot of it has to do with it's like he's worse than the main character, so that you never turn sides on the main character. I think that's probably what it is, but. So he takes him to the dude to this.
It's a fine line too. That's a hard one.
Yeah,
like the main character, you're just like,
especially not, like
I don't really like you, man.
Well, like what he does with him, dude. He takes this guy to his murder kill cleanup place, and he puts
final battle.
Yeah,
like I felt like it was a big game of Mortal Kombat, like different background.
Yeah. Well, dude, it's like alternative, like downloadable content or something.
Yeah.
And he
bonus map.
He puts them in the fucking he puts them in the guillotine he had built to chop off their heads, because it seems like the head is the only part of the women they ever find. if that. And
Oh, that's his calling card?
I think so. That's why he's got a guillotine. That's why he chops her. That's
So
why
it's
he
like
chops
7?
the girl
What's
in the beginning,
box?
like
Yeah.
in the neck. And he calls this dude's family, and so they come to the scene, and it's like 7, and it's like I don't even know. It's like the thing where you do something that you don't expect, and the family opens the door, and when I say 7, I mean it's like that you don't expect
in the
this to
box?
happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they open the door and chop his head off with this elaborate.
Well,
It's
it
like
was
a saw. It's like
Yeah,
a
it was
saw
a saw
thing, right?
setup.
Except this guy could never win because he was like holding the door open with his teeth. So and then like the guy walks out in the street and is like, "Ah!" And that wraps up 2 hours and 20 minutes of it. And
I was satisfied that he did that to the family.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, he did the saw thing to the other. I knew, like, as soon as they showed the son character, I was like, he's gonna get fucked with so bad.
you know what? What did that family like? What did they do to him? Like they got fucked over by this guy too. Like it's not
yeah,
like
I know.
it's not like they like
That's just goes to show that the torch has been passed and there's a new monster in the lurk now, and he just wears a badge.
Yeah. It is. Yeah, it's not a it doesn't follow a black and white scale. It is very it's what kind of lines will you cross are the horror element of this movie. And man, it's weirdly paced. And I think I was more like okay with the pacing in this movie because I've watched way more Korean film, and like I've watched a lot of Asian cinema horror wise, and maybe I'm just a little more used to it being a little bit different, you know. But man, this movie's a banger. It is gory, it's like intense, it is
super gory.
Yeah, it's really 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 good. And I think if you're not into like, or if you don't hate reading subtitles and stuff like that, this movie is.
There's not much dialogue, to be honest, in this
Yeah.
movie. Like, not much at all.
Yeah, it's not like giant like diatribes of like speeches and monologues, right?
No.
So, but like if it goes back to like when
But everyone
things,
talks the same. Everyone says, "You bastard." Like, everyone calls everyone a bastard in this movie. It's hilarious.
yeah. Well, it's
That
Yeah.
fucking bastard.
well, it's the cops the cops that keep letting the FBI agent do whatever he wants, like you talked about, and then like the fucking inspector gets killed, and they're acting like they're gonna arrest this dude, and then he's just walking out like 5 minutes later. It's like, what? You let
Yeah.
this guy just go out and do whatever he wants again? How did that happen?
Yeah, I just heard, like, they're in the same room, the inspector, I don't even know, and he calls the other guy,
Yeah,
and he like goes into the other room to take the call. It's just like,
yeah.
why are you like hiding? And then
Yeah.
he like looks away, like, oh, he got us. Like, what the hell?
It's I wondered. I do wonder, and I said this. It's one of those things where you go, maybe like little things like that really are cultural things. Like it's like they're giving
That's
him
how they. Yeah.
they're giving him privacy and shit. Like Americans don't, and even Canadians to a point don't. I mean,
Well, no, but it would be like, well, I don't know. That's where, again, that line of he's not a secret agent, obviously a lot less of a secret agent towards the end.
yeah.
But I really didn't feel like he was a secret agent at all. So it was
Well, I mean, you didn't see much,
kind
right?
of.
You see him like that's why I kind of compared him. He kind of reminds me of like
If I
Secret
and
Service.
I didn't read the synopsis before I. So
Yeah.
if you read the synopsis, you know.
I just said he's like a Secret Service person. Like I think Secret Service is the ones that because they're watching people have those like earpieces and they're like in tuxedos
Yeah.
and shit like that and doing all that. So, but
They were
yeah.
just like doing some surveillance job at the beginning
Yeah.
of the movie. It was very nondescript, and
Yeah, it looked like he was on protection duty or something like that to
Yeah.
me. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe
that's what I thought too. Yeah, I thought he
Yeah.
was like just
yeah,
protecting the president or something.
yeah. But dude, I really do like this movie a whole lot. So it's good to watch it and get into your like thoughts on it. I think we hit some more Korean movies here. What do you want to do movie wise next? Do you want to do more Korean stuff? Do you want to go back to indie stuff over here? What do you want to do? Next movie's your pick, my friend.
Ooh, I don't know. I think I'll check out Shudder's offerings and see what I got going on.
Okay.
I'm sure there's a few on my list that I'll be like, hell yeah. But I have actually, I'll just start doing 2 lists just so we can both, like, a list for indie movies and a list for foreign movies.
Yeah.
And then we can start seeing what movies are on both our lists.
Yeah.
And then just like, okay.
Yeah.
We'll watch that one next.
Sounds good. The Discord isn't created yet, but I'll make it, and that will go up with the episode this week. So that will go out on a tweet. So if you want to get that, we are Moose Murder on Twitter, so you can follow us there. Moose Murder Pod. Sorry, I keep forgetting the pod. So follow us on there, and we'll give updates when that comes out. That's also where we like say episodes are out and everything. So, we'll also put what movie we're doing when Josh and I figure it out.
Figures it out? Yeah. Damn! It would be good to know what we're doing next week. So we can tell you,
okay.
Fuck, whatever.
Well, let's go with this then, since we're here and you're thinking about it and whatever. But I think we just hit more. I see it on Twitter, and that's why I'm thinking it. Let's do Train to Busan. Have you seen Train to Busan?
No, I have not.
It's another Korean movie. Someone else is doing a review.
And there's
of
a
it,
second one.
Yeah, that's coming out soon. So there you go. That sets you up to watch the sequel here. And Train to Busan is, I think, is a really, really good zombie movie. I don't like zombie movies much anymore, just because they got so oversaturated.
I have zombies tattooed on my arms from like 18 years ago or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I've been into zombies since I was a kid, and like at the beginning of the huge zombie boom, I was the most excited person. I was like, hell yeah, bring it on. Like, more fans of what I love. Like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And then it got too much.
Yeah.
And now I don't even watch The Walking Dead. And that makes me sad that they just took something that was so good and they're like, whoa, the word zombie makes money.
Yeah.
Let's fucking squeeze it dry. And they did.
Well,
and
it's
now
funny
my balls
because
are empty.
You know what? Like, they weren't in the 60s, but like the Dawn of the Dead, the original Dawn of the Dead, the message George Romero was trying to send out was like mindless consumers, right? They're at the mall and everything like that. And so zombies are just like mindless consumers. So they just keep making more and more zombie movies for the mindless consumers, right? So I like it. But yeah, but let's do Train to Busan if you're down with it.
I've heard it's fucking amazing, and I'm totally down.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do that. So we'll do Train to Busan. So we'll figure it out.
Cool.
And it should be good times. So, well, guys, thank you for listening. We are stoked to be on the Slash and Cast podcast network. I think we're gonna do a collab with the Dead in Santa Carla boys here pretty soon, my friends. So now that we're on so we're gonna do that pretty soon. Maybe we even gonna get them to do a Train to Busan with us, but we'll figure that out. And it's gonna be awesome to work with that whole podcast network. So doing some stuff. So I'm very stoked.
Hell yeah.
So Josh, as you said before we started like recording, your website is going out of control, but
going out of control. Yeah. No, it's growing out of control.
That's what I meant. It's growing. It's getting big and unruly, but you're getting it done what you need. Where can they find you?
Right now, find me on Twitter /JoshWRB.
Yep.
At me.
Adam. And he's in Discord. You can follow us on Twitter. Like I said, Moose Murder Pod on Twitter. Our Discord link will go out with this episode on Thursday. So when you're listening to this 22nd of October, 2020. So, yep, that's everything. I'm on Twitter at Rod_Johnston and on Twitch at Rod_Johnston. So, everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you for accepting us. And Have a good one, and we'll see you guys next week.
Peace.
Bye.
Oh, bye.